Well, good afternoon. If it's Tuesday afternoon, it's time for Tuesday's Tips with Michael live here from our broadcast studio using StreamYard. I'm Michael. I'm coming to you live. Thanks for hanging out today. If you're watching this live, say hi. If you're watching this post session, thank you for checking it out. We're getting some really good feedback on our Tuesday's Tips sessions. As you know, over the last few weeks and for the next upcoming weeks, we'll be doing this kind of little leadership journey. We're finding that we're doing a lot of leadership training in organizations, and leaders really focusing on their skills right now is very, very important. Very, very important. We got a lot of calls for leadership training. I'm also coaching a bunch of leaders, and I'm finding that they all could use a brush up in some of their skills. So we're going to go continuing down this work of leaders journey. And like last week, this week we're going to focus on boldness. We talked about boldness last week. We talked about being adventurous, thinking out of the box, putting a stick in the ground, thinking of something new. And we also talked about some leaders really, really doing that well. And some real leaders need help with that. They're just used to their old ways, set in their ways. Being adventurous is not something natural for them. But I'm telling you, as you're crafting a new vision, crafting a new program, a new goal, you need to be adventurous. But today we're going to talk about speaking out, not holding back, speaking out, advocating, selling, encouraging, promoting, all of those things to speak out. Now, depending on your natural tendencies, some leaders we work with have no problem speaking out. Matter of fact, they may speak out too much because they're speaking all the time, but they have no problem speaking out something they're passionate about. Other leaders, not so much. They have to make sure they're not comfortable. They're not over enthusiastic or overexcited. They tend to play a little more laid back. But I'm going to give you some tips today on how to be able to speak out, talk to folks. So again, while we're being bold, we want to take advantage of untapped potential. We want to set a new direction. We want to keep ahead of the competition. So some tips for being bold. As always, this takes practice. So practice with somebody in the organization. So gain confidence in speaking out by sharing your idea at the one-on-one level with people you're comfortable with, people that may give you some honest feedback. So before you take it to more people who you're unsure about, you get a little feedback, you get a little more confidence about being able to speak out about this idea. Don't second guess yourself if you're getting negative feedback. If you're really passionate about this idea, continue to speak out about it. Make a plan on how to handle some resistance or practice that, right? Confront your fears by maybe imagining the worst case scenario, but getting that out of your mind after you do that. And establishing a safe context for generating out of the box ideas and being able to promote them a little bit. So speak out about this in small groups, speak about this in larger groups, speak out about it with messaging, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, but be able to speak out and promote the idea that you feel passionate about. And as you speak out about it more and you become more confident about it, others around you will be more confident in what you're saying, and they will help you speak out about it to their networks and to their networks and to their networks. Being bold. In crafting a vision, you need to be bold. Be bold. As we move forward, the next part of this process we're going to do in the next couple of weeks is about testing assumptions. Is this bold idea that you're speaking about really something that's going to work? You want to test some of those assumptions you may have in the back of your brain. And there's a way to do that. We're going to talk about how to test assumptions, right? In this bold, adventurous idea that you've crafted so far and you've shared with your teammates. So next week, we're going to talk about testing assumptions. We're going to talk about seeking counsel. Who can you brainstorm this with, bounce this off with? Who do you trust internally, externally, to see if this really, really, really makes sense? We give you some tips on testing assumptions next week. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of tips on where you can seek counsel. Where can you seek counsel as a leader in moving forward this bold vision you have, So that wraps it up for today. Tuesday Tips with Michael live here on LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you're watching this. Come by, say hi, and we'll see you next week here in the broadcast studio in my basement. Have a great week. Bye-bye.